think there's a lot of stigma for some reason around the word peace and the identity of peace. You know, peace is often thought of as the 60s and hippies and let's all sit down and sing Kumbaya. And coming from the world of working in policy and working on what are some real actionable steps that we can take on this planet to make a difference, would like to see peace redefined and really concretely looking at what is peace. You know, peace is about reforming education and making it work for our young people today. Peace is about creating health care for everybody on the planet. Peace is about creating opportunities for youth. Peace is about environmental change. What is peace and how do we redefine it? So Seeking Serenity is a kid's book, and I'd say it's around for ages 6 to 8, something like that. But I think it's really for everybody. It's kind of like The Giving Tree or Oh, the Places You'll Go, that an adult probably reads it and gets just as much out of it, if not more. It's about a little girl named Serenity, and she's a curious little girl. You know, you can kind of get from her spirit that she's one of those little girls that's always asking questions. What does this mean? What does that mean? So she asked her parents, what does my name mean? And they say peace. And so she kind of looks back and is like, well, what is peace? You know, and they say, I don't know, what is peace? So it becomes a learning, teachable moment for them and her. She kind of goes to bed that night saying, you know, well, I know peace isn't war, but what is peace? And she goes to bed, and in her dreams, she wanders off, dreams away, flies away, and goes and meets all of the Nobel Peace Laureates in their different worlds, countries, lives. And she asks each of them, what is peace? And they each have a different word. Peace is love. Peace is hope. Peace is forgiveness. So she gathers that information as she goes on her journey and meeting each different Nobel laureate, and wakes up the next morning and runs downstairs and can kind of tell her parents what she's learned. And yeah, the rest is in the book. You know, had a official letter drawn up asking for their approval of both the word and their likeness, and sent them a little sample via the internet. And the first 2 responses, which just blew me away, were from the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. And you can only imagine what it's like to get an email from the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. And then I had the fortune of attending the Peace Jam conference again this year. 6 of the Nobel laureates were in town. At the conference, I presented each of the Nobel laureates. The book wasn't done yet, so I had a 2-page spread for each of the laureates of their page in the book, and gave it to each of them signed saying thank you. And they were all extremely gracious, and I think the most enthusiastic response was maybe from Jody Williams, who's just a ball of energy, but more so Desmond Tutu, who just came over to me, you know, gave me a 3 kisses on either cheek, and a big hug, and just said, it's beautiful, thank you, keep doing what you're doing. Having moments like that where when I get stuck in my head, or when I get afraid that I can't do something, or blocked by this obstacle or this barrier that comes up, I remember that moment of him saying, keep doing what you're doing. And one day I said to myself, wow, I really need to get an illustrator. Well, the next day a friend of mine calls me and she says, hey, I might be moving to Denver or Boulder. Oh, and by the way, I have this friend. She's a graphic designer and an illustrator and an artist. And she really wants to do a kid's book. And she really wants it to have meaning. And she really wants it to be global in nature. And she really wants it to give back. And I thought to myself, got it. It's a really collaborative process. Really beautiful working relationship in creating this. And Maris Cummings, did the illustrations. And I had drawn out some of the samples of little kids that we wanted to be the character. And originally I'd wanted it to be a very multi-ethnic young person because of my own background, being bicultural. and also because of my passion in working on multicultural issues and global issues. So we started going out to kids to get their feeling about, well, do you like this character or do you like that character? Because I always test everything with whoever the audience is. So one of the little girls was like looking at them, and then she kind of looked at me and she said, why doesn't she look like you? So if you haven't figured it out, Serenity kind of looks like me. One of the messages of the book is about living peace. In order to have world peace, we've got to have it in here. It really is about living peace and choosing peace first within, and then if we have inner peace, then we will one day see world peace. And then I think the third message that isn't as direct, but it's more from my telling of the story around the book and what I've gotten out of writing the book, is about going for it and not letting things hold you back, thinking big, dreaming big, and making it happen. What's the new peace sign? There's a new peace sign. It's like, yeah, or peace out.